Imagine slashing your industrial electricity bill by nearly 50% overnight, and doing that without installing a single solar panel.
Right. It sounds almost too good to be true, but it is actually happening.
Yeah, for some large South African industrial players, that is exactly what just happened. If you are a senior decision maker steering a massive industrial operation, well, the era of easy answers is definitely over.
Oh, absolutely. The market is shifting incredibly fast.
Exactly. So today we are providing an executive briefing on the two vastly different commercial routes you face right now to secure power at scale.
Because the landscape has really fractured into two distinct corporate strategies. You have to choose between building long-term structural resilience or, alternatively, leveraging immediate regulatory relief.
Neither is simple. I mean, that much is obvious.
No, not at all. But understanding the mechanics behind both of these routes is critical for your survival.
Let's open door number one then. This is the structural approach, trader-led wheeling. It seems like the traditional method of a factory signing a one-to-one bilateral agreement with a single wind or solar farm is rapidly becoming obsolete.
It is fading fast, yeah. Portfolio-based aggregation is replacing those one-to-one deals entirely. And trader-led aggregation is firmly on track to be the dominant commercial model in the private power market by 2026.
Okay, so how does that actually look in practice?
Well, a trader essentially pools energy from multiple renewable sites. Then they shape that combined supply around your operation's specific demand profile.
I see. So instead of, tying your factory's fate to a single unpredictable farm's harvest, you are plugging into a diversified national grocery distributor.
That is a great way to put it, actually.
Right, and that obviously solves the intermittency problem. But how does it actually neutralize counterparty risk?
That is the crucial part. If one solar farm in the portfolio goes offline, say due to a fault or just bad weather, the trader absorbs that hit, not your factory line. Because they have other sources they can pull from.
Exactly. They balance the shortfall using other assets in their pool. So it shifts the risk away from a single physical asset and onto a diversified portfolio that the trader manages.
That sounds fantastic in theory. I mean, truly. But is the national grid infrastructure actually there to support this at an industrial scale?
Well, the regulatory groundwork just fell into place, surprisingly. We now have a framework permitting cross-jurisdictional wheeling in both directions between the national utility and municipalities.
Oh, wow, that is a big step.
It is huge. And the key to making this work was introducing surplus-neutral municipal tariffs.
Let's pause there for a second because surplus neutral sounds like pretty heavy regulatory jargon.
It really does, I admit that.
Basically, it means the municipality doesn't lose a single cent in revenue when you buy power from a private trader instead of them, right?
Spot on. They just charge a use of system fee that perfectly replaces the margin they used to make selling you the electricity.
Which is brilliant. That fee structure is the magic key that finally got municipalities on board. And if you want proof this works at scale, just look at the NIOS 1 hybrid project in the Free State.
Right, I've seen the numbers on that one.
It is pairing 300 megawatts of solar with 660 megawatt hours of battery storage. And it is backed by massive off-takers like Sasol and Air Liquide.
Wait, putting that much battery storage on the grid changes the game completely. That means they aren't just generating power when the sun is shining.
No, they are specifically storing it to wheel to clients during the evening peak. It is a true baseload replacement.
But of course, building something of that magnitude requires significant capital and time.
Which brings us to the second route. What if you do not have the time or the upfront capital to wait for a 300 megawatt solar farm to go online?
Right, or what if your corporate financials need immediate relief next month? That opens the door to direct regulatory negotiation, which is known as the negotiated pricing agreement.
And this bypasses new infrastructure entirely. Recently, a temporary 35.6% tariff cut was approved for ferrochrome producers.
Wait, 35%? That is a massive cut.
It is. It drops their rate down to 87 cents a kilowatt hour for 12 months. For context, that is compared to the standard average of about 221 cents.
That is a staggering reduction. I mean, just from filing paperwork.
Oh, absolutely. We see a similar mechanism with the long-standing agreement covering the Hillside aluminum smelter.
Right, the one in Richards Bay.
Yes, that facility draws 10.3 terawatt hours a year, and their agreement carries an effective discount near 50%.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate here, though. Getting your rate slashed to 87 cents sounds incredible for this quarter's earnings report.
Sure, it looks amazing on paper today.
But you are entirely at the mercy of the regulator's pen. I mean, these are massive immediate wins, but they appear entirely dependent on regulatory goodwill.
Yes, and that is the critical vulnerability you take on. If the political winds shift in 12 months, or the national utility demands more revenue, your costs could skyrocket overnight. It is a temporary fix, not a structural one.
Exactly.
When you synthesize these two strategies, the contrast is absolute. Trader-led wheeling prices risk transparently because the physical infrastructure and market mechanisms absorb the volatility.
Right, whereas the negotiated pricing agreement depends entirely on a political or regulatory decision you do not control.
Exactly. You are trading structural certainty for immediate relief.
So look at your own operational strategy. Which of these two routes is your operation already standing in front of today? And is that positioning by deliberate design or simply by default?
That really is the question every executive needs to be asking themselves right now.
And more importantly, as industrial players lock up the best private aggregation portfolios over the next 2 years, will you be left holding a negotiated tariff that the regulator suddenly decides they can no longer afford to renew? And if that happens, what backup power do you have for the local communities that rely entirely on your factory remaining operational?